Welcome. Today I will be talking about something that is very close to my heart and something that is super important when it comes to money, something that comes up for all of us, for everyone, and it's something that we all must grapple with and decide for ourselves, which is how do we have both money and well-being when so often they seem to be in conflict with each other? How do we get the balance right? How do we grow our wealth? How do we be fully expressed entrepreneurs or in our work and still manage to have that balance so that we're happy, healthy, thriving human beings? So I've broken it down into 5 different steps on how we can achieve this. First of all, we want to talk about infusing our income earning with our passion and our purpose. So we really want to be making sure that what we're doing on a regular basis, we spend so much time working, that we really want to be making sure that we are ensuring that we have something meaningful that we're creating or we're giving, we're sharing in the work that we do, and we're also receiving something meaningful in return. So we want to make sure that what you are inspired to do, what is your highest calling, that we're infusing that in the work that you're doing to ensure that you are getting up every day and you want to get to work. Now, having said that, let's talk about the question that inevitably comes up, which is how can I really make a living doing what I love? Now, there's a couple of points to this. First of all, I would say you can most definitely make a living doing what you love. You really want to make sure that you are infusing this work with a sense of service that is so important in what you do. And in most cases, that's our highest calling anyway, that we want to go out and provide something, make a contribution, express ourselves in a way that actually makes a positive impact in the world and that we are being of service. So when we're doing this, what we're doing is we're actually providing something of value that we can in turn charge for. So we do need to overlay that degree of commercial reality because we want to be making sure that we're solving the problems or meeting the needs of the people that we are seeking to serve. If we're missing the mark, if we're not quite giving those people what it is that they need, then inevitably our finances will be impacted and we will see it in the bank balance. So that's a clear indication that there's a bit of a mismatch and there's more work to do. So when I say there is something to consider is it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're employed, whether you're self-employed, whether you're living your dream job or whether you're living the job you hate, whatever it is, there will always be an element of the work that you do that you don't love. If I were to deny that and say it is always rainbows and daisies, then you would know that I'm lying and you simply would not believe a single thing I say, because we all know there's an element of what we do that just kind of makes us groan that we have to do it. So there's a few tricks of the trade to help with this approach. There can be playing music or podcasts. Say you're doing painting. Maybe you don't love painting, simply painting a wall because you have to. Playing music, podcasts, having nice candles, whatever it is that helps you to feel happier while you're undertaking that task that is not your ideal is going to be really helpful. It can include breaking it up, whether it's maybe doing your business accounts. If you hate doing your business accounts, maybe you can do 3 to 5 minutes every day. A small amount on a regular basis can make it a lot easier and help you to feel far more in control. Then we've got rewards. Do you reward yourself for doing these things? Is there anything that you can do to focus on the bigger picture? So maybe you don't like taking client notes. Maybe you find that boring. Maybe you can make it more efficient. But also, can you focus on what's the biggest side effect of taking this action? Maybe in taking client notes, you're able to provide a better service for your clients and a better client experience. Also, to be really clear on what it is that you're providing to your clients. So it actually is in higher service of what it is that you're trying to achieve. Then, secondly, focus your time, energy, and resources on what is most important. Now, this is a huge one. This is so big because for many of us, it's really hard to know what is most important. And this really takes some deeper thinking. Sometimes people can agonize over this because they find it really hard to focus on what is most important. It's easy to get distracted when you're lacking that clarity. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. And really, the key is to give yourself the time, the planning, tap into your own wisdom to get a great idea on what it is that you genuinely want for your life and to be creating, sharing with the world. This can include, it does not hurt to make a list of what you don't want. If you do a list of what you don't want, you will inevitably be able to look on the flip side of that and see what you do want. But it's really about getting to the bottom of what is most important to you. If you had a short time to live in this world, what would you focus on? If you were given 15 minutes to beam a message out into the universe, and this would be your one message to humanity and whatever lies beyond our galaxy, what message would you want to share in that 15 minutes? Those sorts of things are your guiding light, your North Star in what it is that's important to you that you want to focus on. Then step 3, we want to make sure that you're balancing your money with your other life domains based on what your own needs are and what your own desires are. So other life domains, that includes that fun, it includes community, it includes career, family, friends, health, learning, spirituality. All of these things can be other life domains that are important to us. You might have more life domains that are important to you, or you might have less. In any case, it's really about what makes you you. What is going to enrich your life if you focus on achieving as best you can a balance across all of these life domains. Because we do focus on building wealth in Money Wellbeing, there's no doubt about it. But if you only ever focus on building wealth and you manage to attain that without having any balance, there is a good chance that the universe is going to send you some life lessons to make you reconsider if perhaps you have neglected other areas, whether it be through marriage breakdown, lost friends, maybe your health. It's going to show up in other ways, which inevitably will also impact your wealth and your well-being. So we really want to be making sure that you've got the balance right. And, because we just have this life, it's really so important to make sure you have the quality of life. And you can't possibly have that quality of life without balancing those life domains. It's so important to be making conscious decisions about what to prioritize, what parts of our lives are important. I do talk about balance. I will put a caveat on that, though, and say there are times in our lives when different life domains need to be at the forefront. So, for example, when I first went to university and I was, in my early 20s, the biggest life domain for me was learning and growth. I had just come into adulthood. I had so much to learn, so much to experience, that learning and growth was naturally a priority. And then, having a family, little ones, that was more of a priority. That doesn't mean that I neglected the other areas. It's just that these areas sort of move around or maybe oscillate each other at different times. So it's really important to be making conscious decisions and to be aiming for a balance over the long term and forgiving ourselves, not being so hard on ourselves if we do need to prioritize one life domain. I see that happen in money and finances and business when there are times when we have to prioritize the work and the money, and that's okay for a period of time. We do need to be very careful of burnout. I would not want to suggest that that's okay for a long period of time. But if we do need to be working a little bit harder for a short period of time, don't make it harder by being self-deprecating and self-blaming because we're not able to exercise as much, or maybe we can't go out on the weekends quite as much as we used to, with the caveat that we are still making sure that we are looking after ourselves well enough that when we get through that busy period, that we can manage to keep going and we've got that sustainability. I'm not suggesting that we neglect our health at all. In fact, we need to make sure that we've got the baseline level of health and well-being in place no matter what, always, under all circumstances. But you can understand how in different scenarios, different life domains might come forward a little bit more. With our finances, know that we have different end dates. I've done a lot of financial planning with people, and inevitably we look at life expectancy. The thing with that is sometimes there are a few of us, unfortunately, who get a indication of their life expectancy, whereas most of us really have no clue, whether it be today that we might step on a rainbow or in very old age. So with our finances, we really need to consider both possibilities and build a life, or consider a life, that supports how we want to live in each scenario, and take a balanced, measured approach in how we plan our finances. Step number 4 is focus on personal and financial growth simultaneously. So what often happens is that in order to reach self-actualization, in order to grow, we really need to be developing personally and in our finances at the same time. Too often we have people who, it's common, it happens all the time. Probably everybody thinks this at some point, is that when I have X amount of money, then I'll be happy. When I have this specific material item, when I have this home, I'll be happy. When I earn this much money, I'll be happy. That is a very sticky, easy to believe thought. The issue with that is, if we don't focus on our happiness now, before we have these things, before we earn that income, what happens when we earn more money is that we become more of who we are. So if we have not developed ourselves personally, and we don't have the skills to manage money, if we don't have the wisdom, then if we're a miserable person before we have the money, we are going to become an insufferable sod when we have a lot more money. And we're going to miss important opportunities to not only help ourselves but to help others and to make a positive impact in the world. So it is so important to build both at once, so that we have the wisdom to know what to do with that extra money. An example of this not working is lottery winners. They often lose money really quickly because they haven't developed the skills or the wisdom or the mindset, the relationships to be able to sustain that money and live that wealthier lifestyle for any great period of time. Step 5 is use money in the service of your self-actualization. So you can use money to express yourself as best as possible, to be fully authentic, and to support your best life. So money is no longer seen as good or bad. It is a tool, and it is used to express your awareness and to support your highest self and your highest purpose. And you become an example of what is possible for everybody else. So, with that, I will finish up. But I just want to say, this touches on something that we can all sometimes shy away from, is because there is so much possibility with this personal growth and this balance and this approach to money and well-being. And I just want to mention Nelson Mandela. He has an amazing quote, which I just love to think about sometimes. It is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, it is not our darkness, which frightens us. So all of these steps might sound really easy. They're often easier said than done. I am more than happy if there's anything I've said and you think, yeah, but what about my circumstance? Or, well, how would that apply here? Feel free to send me an email, a DM, leave a comment, because sometimes we really need to delve into these things to see how it would be applied in reality. So certainly reach out to me. I hope I have given you some food for thought. And absolutely, it is most definitely possible to have both money and well-being, happiness and wealth. It is there. It is for you to take, and I support you along the way. All the best.